welcome to another episode of my washing machine series. This will be episode 15, so it'll be WMS washing machine series episode E15, episode 15. And it's basically, I had one of my viewers put a comment in on previous videos. I think it was the last one actually I'd done in the washing machine series. Was requested me to do a video of a washing machine on the Rapid 15. That will be the rinse and spin. So I'll set the spin speed on that one to its maximum, and I'll show you this in action while it's doing its maximum spin speed. So I was requested from a commenter and be interested. I mean, I've seen that one. I've done a video on this previously anyway, but I put it on the spin and dry, which is program 16. I still got the maximum spin speed on it, but the 15, the rapid, well, the commenters called it Rapid 15. So the number 15 program on our machine says rinse and spin. So 16 is spin and dry, but both of them go up to 1400, which is a maximum spin speed on our Indesit washing machine. So I'll show you the machine and I'll show you the program settings. And what I'll do throughout the videos, I'll just kind of like record some of the footage of the whole cycle, footage throughout the whole cycle, notably the spin. So I've done quite a lot of videos on this washing machine. I've shown it with the top and back covers off being operated. And I always say don't do that at home because there's deadly voltages in there and there's moving parts in there as well. So I can only say not to do it unless you're a qualified electrician or technician. But anyway, I've mentioned that, don't do it at home. So you could watch that episode, I think it's episode 14, the one previous to this one, I think. I've done that many, but I'm pretty sure it is. And you can see this operating with the top and back cover off. You'll see all the parts working inside. I've done a full wash cycle with that, including the spin and drain as well. So it was at its maximum spin speed of 1400 with the covers off on episode 14. But the commenter, one of my viewers, wanted a review on this one. The way it's been worded by the commenter, it's Rapid 15. So I assume that they mean the rinse and spin, because that's all the programs. But this one, I mean, both of them you'll get the maximum spin speed. But I'll put it on this one anyway, and I'll record the footage. So it's just completed a wash. I've done a completed a wash cycle, so I'm going to use 15 now. The softener, it does 2 rinses after it's washed. It does the main wash, then it does 1 rinse, empties, then it does another rinse, well I should say it does its wash, it empties, then it goes in the rinse cycle but it fills up, does its rinse, then empties, then it fills up again with the softener. The softener goes in, then it does its rinsing, then it empties, then it goes into its spin. And then that's the end of the program. But this is the second program I'm going to do this. So it's just a case of setting it to number 15. The door's shut. There's laundry in there that's needing that. Switch it on. Power's on at the wall. Is it powered up? Set spin speed for 1400. So I don't think this is relevant. You see, you don't really get a setting for the temperatures because it's just a rinse, so you don't need to, I won't allow it, it'll just flash. But when it stays a steady solid orange light, then that means it's permitted. You know, I'll do that, I'll do the spin, but the temperature is irrelevant because it's doing a rinse. I just completed a wash. I put it on that one actually and I had it setting at 50, so when I was doing the wash it stayed the solid light to suggest that I will do that. But if I had it on program 1 I wanted 50, it just flashed because it wasn't going to go up to that, it only went to 40, which is maximum for program 1. But program 2 you can get up to 60 degrees But I didn't put it to 60, I put it to 50, then it stayed a solid light, and then the programme went on. But anyway, that's it. Going to be 2 starts. So I've got it set for the maximum spin, the rapid 15, so doors shut, water's on. Here goes. So it does this, it does a wee sort of, it seems to be the norm. Takes its time a wee bit. So it's going to go right onto the rinse. Door interlock is on. So that's it, water, incoming water. When I done the spin and drain, it didn't bring any water in, it just done its spinning, but the viewer wanted me to do, the viewer of my video put a comment in asking me to do a review of how they worded it as a rapid 15, so I assume it's 15 rinse and spin, so that's what's coming. So it's rinsing, as it's indicated on here as well. So I'll count the number of rinses it does. That's its first fill. I've just put the programme on, so it's doing one full, well, it's putting the water in, so it's one fill up, if you like. So it's its first fill up of water. I don't know how many times it fills up and empties on this programme, but this is the first one where it's filling the drum up with water. Now, in my previous episodes I've explained, to my knowledge, how the machine works. It showed all the inside components, where the water comes in, the solenoids at the back for the valves, and all that. If you just look back at my previous washing machine series episodes, you could get to see all that. And the old washing machine as well. I took the old one to bits, so there's lots of footage on that. There's even a video of the old washing machine doing its final wash forever. And that's also on this early episodes, before I take it to pieces. I'll explain why I scrapped it and all the rest of it on the previous episodes. So that's the drum up to its wash. Pressure switch determines how much water's in there. The clothes will absorb water, and the pressure switch will deter how much water's in the drum. So if it needs more water, that will tell the circuit board, which is down at the back, to open the solenoids up to let more water come in. So it's just doing the first fill up, and I'll just record more throughout. I'll definitely get the full spin. I'll count the number of cycles for the fills and empties and highlight them on the video as well. So it's still requiring more water. The pressure switch sensor that tells how much water's in there, and it tells the circuit board how much, the microprocessor how much water's in the drum, and then the microprocessor decides how much water it should fill the drum up by. A few minutes, it's still been it's taken some more water as well. So my dad uses this programme a lot. Actually, he uses the rinse and spin, whereas I tend to use just the spin and dry. So my understanding and my way of thinking is that I think when you put a wash on, you should just have the set your spin speed, and at the end it should go to that, and that's it. But you can maybe get like a rinse hold or something, but it seems that you're only limited to 1,000 for certainly the first two, and possibly the third one as well. But you only get the maximum spin on these two, at least 15 and 16. Whereas I think they should just design it so you could have the maximum spin speed at the end of the programme, so that's it, it's all done in one hour. But when I want to get the maximum spin speed, I used to normally just put the spin and dry on. That's what I would have done. But because I got a request, my dad uses the rinse and spin, by the way, but I haven't recorded this, so I'm actually going to do it for my wash, and I'll show you the footage. But certainly my way of thinking, I would have had it designed where you could just set the maximum spin speed and the desired spin speed you want for the main program. So it's all done in a winner. I'm sure the older washing machines were like that. So this is first empty. It wasn't that long after it done its intake of water, done a few turns, now it's doing its first empty. I've got videos on my earlier episodes when I demonstrate how the pump actually works with the old machine. I took a pump outside, filled it with water and showed it operating with just the pump itself. I can't remember the episode, but it's titled accordingly, so if you're interested, just have a look back. I don't know if it does another rinse. I think it might fill up again. Just that it's showing it's still in the rinse program. But right now it's emptying and it's doing its thing. Just sort of going round and getting more water and balancing the noodles. The pump's going off. It seems to just be doing its little preset spin. The pump's back on again. So I'll wait till it does its spin, then I'll let you know what's happening. So far it's just been doing this, it's turning one way, turning another way. Not very exciting. The pump came on again, it went off again, it's doing a wee bit more of the turning this way, turning that way. It hasn't taken any intake water yet, so it's only taken water once it's emptied it. I'm sure just what it's trying to do now with balancing the load. That's the pump back on again. So far it's only done one intake of water, one fill drum. It's only done one fill up with water. The water's been emptied and now it's like as fast as it's spun. Let's try to... I'm not familiar with this program because I don't normally use this one. My dad does, but he doesn't watch the washing machine. You only watch it if it's broken, he's want to fix it and test it and check it, but I'm interested, so I'll stick around and watch it. But I think this might be it's the faster it's, at the moment it's been spinning anyway. So I'm not sure just what. So you can hear the different sounds of the motor. Something speeds up as it slows down. I think I explained all that in another episode, the previous one. It's like the back EMF, electromagnetic force produced by the motor acting as a generator, because it's a permanent magnet motor, permanent magnets on the rotor, and as its power's got off, the motor sort of like kind of does a generator effect because it's spinning the magnet in a coil. That could account for that sort of whining sound that comes up, that speeds up as the drum slows down. and then eventually it slows down. I think that I went into a lot of detail on that on the previous episode with the top and back cover off. You hear it and see it a lot clearer because I had the machine working with the covers off. So feel free to look back and watch it if you want, if you're interested. I also had an episode with the old washing machine with the covers off as well. It might have been titled differently with a different title. I might have done that before in the series, but I certainly got it on my channel earlier. So it's still on the rinse indicator. So there's not very much going on at the moment, it's just that it's not on the build up to its maximum yet. You hear that noise going up as it's slowing down. That whining sound, it winds, it gets faster sounding, but it's actually slowing down. It's like a brake effect, like a braking effect. So far it's just been doing this. It's still showing the rinse indicator on it, so I'll just wait till it gets to its maximum spin, then I'll turn the camera and record that for you. It might actually be trying to balance the load before it goes at the next maximum spin. That's maybe why it's taking a wee while before it gets to the final spin. Balance the load to get the thing, that determines about the load, how to balance it by the amount of current that's been drawn out of the motor. Because I think it tends to resist more if it's unbalanced. It'll fluctuate more anyway. I don't think the weight will change, and in fact the weight won't change, but the fluctuations will change, because if the load's unbalanced, it will be like the clothes will be momentarily freewheeling, which will be less load on the motor, and then it'll fall into the drum, and then it'll be a heavy load. So the load will vary, it will fluctuate more, and it'll be detected by the microprocessor that the load in the inside the drum's unstable. So it's kind of like going like this one way, going like that the other way, to maybe try and balance the load out before it does its maximum spin. I think that's how it works anyway, that's my understanding of it. So it might be in its perturbation after quite a while of going back and forward, presumably try to sort the load out, but this could be coming in for its final spin. I just wait and see. I think it is. It's increasing speed now. We're on the build up to the 1400. But it's still showing rinse, but I don't know why that would be. It's not filled up since its first fill up, so no more waters came in. It's just been spending quite a considerable time sort of, doing a kind of like turning one way, turning the other way, emptying, turning one way, doing that. Now it seems to be on the build up to the final spin, the one we've all been waiting for. 1400. And I think it uses the back EMF. The motherboard uses the main circuit board microprocessor will use the back EMF produced to determine the speed of the motor, perhaps, because there isn't a tachometer on the back of the motor. Unlike the old machine which had one. Spinning magnet within a coil, and it just induced the voltage to deter how fast the rotor was going inside the motor. Well, this doesn't have that. So the PCB circuit board microprocessor will probably deter the speed by the amount of back EMF resistance produced when there's no power going to it. But yeah, it's definitely, you could hear the different whining noises as well, which is quite interesting. I'm not sure if that's motor power, it's still power going to it, but whether it's reducing it and it's going sort of like semi-generator and semi-motor, I'm not sure, but there's definitely different frequencies produced. Yeah, this could be the build up to the big one, but it's still showing Vince on there, but I'd have thought it would have been on spin by now, but it's just let you hear it as it goes. probably guessed there's a high vis in there. It's the reflective fluorescent on the high vis. A high vis vest that I must wear when I'm in the bus depot. It's my job, I drive buses, and it's mandatory that I wear a high vis when I'm in the bus garage. So you can see this reflection. That's the light off, that's the light on, it's reflective. And you've got the oscillated frequency of the camera, the way it's processing it, so you get a sort of illusion effects. And then of course when you watch it on the screen it will be even more different illusions due to the frequency of the screen that you're watching it on. I.e. that. Oscillating frequency. It's probably at about 1,000 at the moment, so it should still be more increasing than RPMs yet. Revolutions per minute. That's what that is, 1400 revolutions per minute. But I'd say it's, right now it's only about 1,000. It doesn't sound as though it's up to its maximum yet. So it's just kind of gone down. But it's still showing rings, so maybe... If that hasn't done, that's definitely at 1400 that it went to. Ah, right, okay, so it wasn't the final spin after all, because now it's doing its second fill up. So the incoming water's coming in, so it went through a lot of turns and twists and, you know, just going that way and then going that way for quite a considerable time. And I thought, I should have, because it did say it was still in the rinse after all, so... It's intaking water again, so that's its second drum fill up of water. I'm not going to record all this, I'll just wait till it gets on to the more interesting parts. But you get the idea. So, just so this is the second intake, water intake. So it's filled up the water again for the second time. It's just doing its rinse cycle, just going, well, and doing its, what it's doing, nothing really much excitement there. So it's just taking a wee bit more water, so it's still in its second intake, it's requiring more water, because the big heavy jacket's absorbing more water. So it's taking in water again, it's still in the second intake, but it's just taking in a little bit more water. I'll probably do that until all the lunges absorb the water, and then the drum's up to the desired level. That's deterred by the pressure switch, which is housed the bolt there inside, and there's a tube that goes into a gland on the outer drum at the bottom, and that will fill up, that will affect the pressure in that tube, which will affect the diaphragm and the pressure switch, which will, you know, open or close the circuit, which will send a signal to the ECU, electronic controls. There's lots of names, you could call it an ECU, you could call it a module, a motherboard, a microprocessor, circuit board. There's lots of terms that you could use to describe the main brain of it, which is tucked down at the back. But I prefer it if it's further up, because down at the back inside it's prone for getting kicked. You know, it's not in the best. They seem to think it's better there, but that's how they've designed it. I'd have thought it would have been probably better having it higher up, or behind here like on the old one. Now it just took in a wee bit more water there, so just to emphasise that. But yeah, on the old machine the main microprocessor board was behind the panel, the instrument panel. Whereas on this, there's a circuit board there, but it's just for the lights and the switches. So the instrument panel is just only that on this one, but the PCB is still down there. And the old one, the instrument panel had the main brains and circuitry, the modules and that at the back, as you'll see on the earlier episodes of my washing machine series. So it's took in water, some more water again for about the 5th time on this the second main intake. This is still the intake of the water, it's just been taking dribs and drabs in on it. I think the big jacket in there absorbs a lot of water. So the pumps just came on, it's just emptying now. That's on the actual spin cycle. Shows that on the instrument panel. So that'll be definitely going for the final spin now after it's emptied. I might do a wee bit of the, turning this way, turning that way. We'll see. But I'll certainly be recording it when it does the full speed, the build up to the full spin speed. So it's took in water twice on the rinse cycle for this. The first, it'll take water in, then it'll take more and more until it's up to the level, and it'll do its turns, and then it'll empty. And then I've done it again for the second intake. It took in the most of the water, done the turns to get the water to absorb in the clothes. Then it just takes in more dribs and drabs of water just to get the level right. Then it'll do its turns and spit, its tumbles. Now it's emptying. Now that's the stage it sits now. It's emptying after its second fill up, and it indicates anyway that it's going to be able to do the final spin. So I shall get that recorded. So it's just doing this, the usual. I think it's just getting the load. So it's just been emptying and putting the pump on and going off. It's been turning that way, turning that way. That must be it, just getting the clothes all ready for its final spin, I think. So it's not that. It's just been doing that quite repetitively, so you get the idea there. So it's sort of got a bit faster now, so. You can actually hear the motor oscillating. That'll be picked up by the ECU module, and it'll detect how much current, how the current's been fluctuated. It does that because the motor's doing that because of the load, the way the load's balanced inside the drum. So it's going load on, load off. Well, there's always a load on it, but the load will increase and it will decrease a bit and increase a bit because of the instability of the load. And that wave formation, that sound, will probably be the same shape as the wave formation of the input current to the motor. It'll draw more current, that will be detected. The motor current going in will be detected by the ECU circuit board, microprocessor, you know what I mean. The brains, that'll detect how it's shaped like it. It'll probably then compare how it should be, or how it would like it to be. And then once it gets near to that, it'll be preset determined. Then it will go ahead and spin on its maximum. But the aim is to get it as the load as balanced as possible before it goes to its maximum spin. Say, don't quote me on all that because that's just my understanding. That's what I reckon that it's doing anyway. I know that it has to monitor the current that's going in, so it knows what the motor's doing, how fast it's spinning, how much loads are. So you can hear it. You can actually hear it. You can audio hear the motor going up and down because of the load that's imbalanced. But that's going to have the same. That's going to make the pattern of the input to the power going in, the current going in. It's going to have that pattern because it's going to be on load, off load, more on load and less load and on load. You can actually hear that sound, and it's going to pick that current pattern up with the PC. The microprocessor will detect that, and I'll probably compare it with what it should be. And when it gets close to that, then it'll permit it to spin when it's maximum. It doesn't want to spin like when it's unbalanced because you know what it's like. The whole machine will just shake about over, so it's trying to avoid that. That will damage the machine otherwise. Well, this one has 2 stabilisers at the bottom, unlike the old one. I had 3, so I thought the old one was a bit more sturdier myself personally. Those hanguses on the build up to it. Yeah, you'll see all the stabilisers in the earlier episodes of my washing machine series, on this one and also on the old one. So this could be it. complicated. Nope, so it's not, I don't think it's happy to do that yet, so it's probably going to have to do a wee bit more of the turning and tumbling it this way, tumble it that way, to get it maybe more balanced. I reckon if there was more stabilisers at the bottom, I'd probably find it easier to stable the load. There's only two, one at each side. The load had two at one side and one at the other. Stabiliser shock absorbers, that is. So it dampens it. So I think we're definitely on the final spin now. Surely. It's been quite a while, you know, in the build up to this, so I didn't record all that like, but the pump will be on probably all the time now until it's complete the spin. Well, it almost certainly will be on when it's spinning, there's no doubt about that, but I think we're definitely on the build up to it now. The power is going up. We're on the build up to 1400 RPM. Finally. You can see the suspension working in the previous episode where I've got the covers off. I put it on spin and drain when I done it on that one, and it was much quicker than this one. This rinse and spin took quite a while actually, it took ages. But you can see the 1400 spin speed on the previous episode when I had it set for spin and drain after the main wash. And I've got the footage of it doing the main wash with the covers off as well. Top and back covers off. So you'll see all the movement of the springs and the shock absorbers on that previous episode. I'm sure it's episode 14. So the RPMs are increasing now. I don't really see the point in this, but why it does that. But it seems to do that at the end of the programme so far that we've used. After the final spin, it seems to do this turning very slowly. I just don't understand why. What's the point? It's not doing, well, I don't know what it's doing like, but that's why I'm asking, but seems like a waste of time to me, but right, so pumps came back on again, but they'll go right off immediately to the end of the programme. That's it, programme done. So I don't really know why it did these very slow turns. I mean, that wouldn't be enough to get any water out, but it seems to do it on all the washes. And this one immediately, the door interlock red light is off, meaning that you could use it. Oops. Probably recognise that from one of my videos. That's a Tammy that I use, and it is quite dry actually. Tammy uninverted accidentally fell out the drum. Now it's that dry, I could actually just put it on and wear it, and I'll show you. You'll recognise it from previous videos if you've seen the videos before on my channel. So it fell out the door and I opened it. You might as well see, you've seen it before, you might as well see it now. It demonstrates that it is dry, it's fresh, it's clean. But I don't think that was 1400. I think that was maybe about 1200. I mean, I did put in quite a load in there. When I done the other wash, when it was at 16 on the previous episode of this, when I had the covers off, I got the thing recorded when it was up to its 14. I definitely believe it was at 1400 RPM on that one. So not only do you get to see this, the drum spinning from the front, you also get to see the motor, the belts, the pulleys and all that, the shock absorbers working. That was the episode before this, episode 14. So if you want to see that, because I definitely would have went up to 1400 on that one, without a doubt. I've never heard the motor going so high up in my life. It went really high because all the previous washing machines are only up to 1000 or 1200 actually. Yeah, the old one was 1200. I think the mate's is 1600. I guess I'll have to maybe see that sometime, but that's all about time. I'd have to organise that, but anyway, I think personally that was only about 1250. The reason being is because I put in quite a big load in that, and if the machine microprocessor thinks it's not appropriate or suitable or going to be too much of a current draw to the motor or something, I don't know, then I'll just limit the RPMs for its safety, so it doesn't burn the motor out or damage the washing machine. I'm guessing that's, I mean, it did go faster than 1000. I would say probably 1250, because if you could probably compare it yourself, if you go back to the episode 14 and listen to it at the end, the very end, because I put it on the spin and drain, and that's the rinse and spin took ages, but it filled up twice. But the spin and drain was just literally that, it just spun right away more or less, and I recorded it. That's what I would use anyway. But so that's it. I'll round the video off. Can't really think anything else on this episode for now. I'll put on more later. Just see what else I put on my channel. Thanks for watching. Okay, right, see you later. Bye for now.